Going live right.
Greetings, greetings, greetings.
Finally, we get you on here.
I was waiting. I don't know. Tried everything, but here we here now. How
Finally,
you
tell us your name and tell us where you're from, and don't take your mask off because I do not want you to get the corona.
Nah. Thank you. I appreciate that. My name is Steve Thomason the third. I'm from Harlem. That's New York City, Manhattan. Um,
Shout out to Harlem.
26 years young.
Okay. Tell
Just
us
give me two
why.
seconds. Give me two
Tell,
seconds.
wait.
Like that.
Hmm?
Yeah, continue.
Tell us why you feel fathers are important.
Where do I start? I feel like fathers is very important to child's development, motivation, and just in general. Like that's half 50% of the kids. So
Oh, and just noticing you have two people that are saying "Hey Steve" to you because I've been trying to get you on for the longest, and I'm
I have.
guessing because you're in the city, there might be like some technical difficulty with the service or whatever that's going on out there. But you have the floor. Why don't you tell us why fathers are important?
I just want to start with some statistics I looked up. This is from parents.com. It says 19.7 million children are without dads. That's a lot.
Okay.
And I'm not sure whether that's due to fathers being dead or fathers being alienated, but it's really
But
sad.
do you believe that? Do you feel and understand that? Have you experienced that? Like personally, have you seen that with like certain friends or anybody?
Well, I have some friends, fathers are incarcerated. I have some friends, their parents are dead. And I have some friends who have fathers that they just don't see. I've seen situations where fathers live two streets away from their kids and they don't even get to see them.
Okay. Do you have kids?
I have three kids. I have three beautiful kids. I have two boys, and then I have a beautiful princess. She's the youngest.
Okay. How old are you again?
I'm 26 years young.
Okay. Have you ever dealt with parental alienation?
Yes, in two different ways. I've been a kid where, like, growing up, sure, some part of my life I didn't get to see my father. I don't really understand that part. I was young,
You never got a
but
chance to see your father. You said.
no, I'm saying at one point in time, I'm sure it was a time where my father was being kept away from my father, and vice versa. Like me being a father, my kids being kept away from me.
Okay. So did that influence you on being the best father you can possibly be?
Yes, because my father always motivated me. You know, he's always there to talk to, be positive. There's a lot of things as a male that like my mom don't understand, but like she's very supportive and helpful. But being that my father is a man, he experienced the same exact thing I go through. As far as like maybe racism or parent alienation or just different emotions as a man, even like the male body, like certain things, he tells me like I'm like okay. And I'm 26, and he's giving me the best advice ever. But certain things I wish he told me when I was 16. But things I don't know what happened in the past with my parents, but I love both of them, and they make me. So it's like if one parent disses the other, I would feel hurt because he dissing the other half of me.
Have you ever dealt with any other ways of parental alienation? Because you said yes and no.
Um, yeah, I mean, there's times I didn't get to see my kids. There's times I wasn't able to talk to them. But there's times, not only parent nation with me, but I say in different ways, like family. Like there's different types of parent alienation. Like I might be able to see my kids, but my family may not be able to see my kids.
Hold on, somebody just commented saying being an absent father is presented as okay. I need you to be a little bit more specific, but continue talking.
Um, yeah, I think it's important that every kid, every father, because parent alienation. It made me very depressed. I was very sad. You know, they give me energy. My kids give me energy. They're part of me. So it's like I really do
I
care for
have
them.
I have a comment from kids underscore aren't pawns. Do you pay child support?
At this current moment in time, no, I have in the past.
You have in the past?
Yes.
Okay. So how is your relationship with your kid's mother?
It's kind of difficult. I mean, it's getting better. There's times where we communicate perfectly well, and there's times where we don't communicate at all.
What do you mean? Like there's times you don't communicate at all?
Um, we just don't talk.
I understand. Have you ever Have you ever dealt with, because I know personally some friends of mine that do not want to be um mentioned, but have you ever dealt with anybody? Well, have you ever dealt with your kid's mother alienating you due to the fact that this due to this pandemic? Have your kid's mother alienated you due to this pandemic?
Um, in certain ways, but I want to say no.
Okay, okay. One of my questions are that I want to ask you, for young fathers that are out there right now, what can your advice be to young
Um,
fathers
don't bash your
that are like brand new, like, because every day kids are
get
being
upset.
born. Can you hear me?
I'm sorry. Say the question again because you're breaking up.
Every day kids are being born. So if anybody listening in right now, for new fathers that's a new father today, to yesterday, or whenever, what your advice you can give to them?
Never embarrass or bash the mother of your kids. Be an example to your kids. Never give up. Love your kids. Show them love and support. If have to or need be, then go to court. And just keep being positive. I know it's hard, and I know it's a lot of things that we don't talk about, but we need to talk about it. And let's just stay positive. Like I know it's nothing. It's a really horrible feeling, but just hang in there, be tough, be strong, and it gets better. It really does. Like I get it, but you can't give up.
Your cousin is on here right now, and he literally said he's a phenomenal dad. I want to thank you for commenting, and to your cousin that's listening right now, I would do the same thing if my cousin was on here. For your cousin that's listening right now, I want to ask you personally to take the time out and follow this page. Please follow this page for all fathers that are being alienated. But if you have any problems with your kid's mother, or anything whatsoever, to get her to understand why fathers are important, what would you tell her personally, to
A
in
lot.
a civil conversation, to get her to understand? If there's ever a point or ever a time when sometime in the future she may say, this is my baby, like the last guy, I don't know if you were paying attention, Chris Sanchez. Shout out to Chris Sanchez, because that's very terrible with what he's going through.
Yeah, that's sad. Oh my
It,
God.
it's very, very,
Like,
very sad. But
like from
from a New Yorker to a New Yorker, from a Long Island dude to a city dude, what would your advice, what would your message be to your kid's mother, to get her to understand how important it is to have a father in a child's life?
um, this is very important. Just how much you love your father. Let's look at my kids the same opportunity to love me just as much. Um, kids need both parents, and let's just continue raising our three beautiful children. Um,
Absolutely.
I got some fact and stuff. It's just saying like so this is from holidaydappy.com. It says fathers to daughters, they help their daughters with their self-esteem, they help them, with academics, they help them develop good behavioral traits, they help them define like a romantic relationship, because you want a guy that you treat like the way your father does. So I feel like that's positive influences. As far as boys, they help their self-esteem, they help to motivate them, they help them communicate, they help. It's the kids that have both parents make the kids more resilient. And this is just some statistics for children without fathers. I got this from liveabout.com, and it said 63% of the youth are suicidal, 90% of children are runaways, 85% of children have behavioral disorders, 70% of high school dropouts. Um, it's just that's important. Listen,
That
everybody.
that that's good enough that you just shared with us, because for we don't know a lot of history with we don't know a lot of history with half the people that do killings in this world nowadays. If they had fathers in their life, maybe their father could have stopped them from doing what they were doing. And I appreciate that. I appreciate you doing your homework. But another thing, The Columbine shooting. I'm sure you heard of the Columbine shooting. We don't know if that person that had if we don't know if that person that did the Columbine shooting, we don't know if that person had a father in their life. They never put out there if he had a father or anything. Maybe if he had a father in his life or whatever, that would have triggered him for to not set off and do what he have did. Now, what I'm saying might be controversial, but you never know. Fathers are important in many different aspects. Many different aspects. There should never be a child that should be raised by one parent. And the same thing goes by just a father being in the child life. Just as much as a father needs a mother, a father needs a father as well. And I mean that with my whole heart and pride because of what I've been through. Like you commented, sending your thoughts and prayers for my father. I'm telling you that from my experience and everyone else that is watching as well. A, a father needs to be in a child life. A a father that is, how can I say this? A father that is level headed. A father that is not broken. That is not anything. A father needs to be in a child's life. Period. What else do you have to say and share?
To any fathers who's feeling alienated, just don't give up on your kids. Just write letters, get a notebook, write a letter like every day to your kids. Just fill up the notebooks and just tell them how you feel. Tell them, different lessons, different ages. Just write down things. Just stay positive. Like, it's really sad. It's really common. It's all over the world. It's an international problem, especially like in my neighborhood where I live. I'm sure there's a lot of like alienated fathers, and I see like a lot of fathers.
Before you continue, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna be logging off in a few more minutes. So if you have any more questions to ask Steve, please ask him right now before I log off. That goes for you. That goes for you as well, Empress Ray. But everyone as well.
Yeah, just show your parents, just show love. Like, I mean, if y'all able to make a baby, just try to find a way to common ground and communicate and just raise the kids. It doesn't have to be bad. If y'all can make kids, then y'all could work together to raise them.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I don't see any more comments coming on here, so
I
I
just
do.
want to say
Huh?
thank you. I just want to thank you, Arcadio. Like, I love what you're doing, the platform for fathers to speak. I'm a person, I'm really quiet and I really speak about my problems. This feels so good, like, just to talk. It's great. Like, I love what you're doing. I think that, even like talking about it, because I feel like a lot of dads don't talk about the problem, and it gives a relief, like a therapeutic relief, and it kind of helps cope with the pain, because a lot of people that don't understand the pain, they can't understand the hurt that dad may or may not feel.
That's exactly why I'm doing this. That's exactly why I'm doing this. I'm currently in a process right now for fighting for joint legal custody. I'm not going to explain everything 100% to the extent until everything is situated. But I will say this: if I was to talk to my son's mother right now, I would sit down and tell her straight up that it's time to put all of this to the side. It is time for us to level up as parents and not as children. It's time for, and I can sit here and point fingers and say that it's all her, and she can sit here and point fingers and say that it's all me. But it's time for us to be neutral. It's time for us to be level-headed and do this for the child. And I'm saying this for everyone who is watching right now, whether if it's just 10 people, 20 people, 100 people, or whatever. The most important thing in this life when you raise them is for the child. Raising them neutral. Neutral love is most important.
Equality.
Equal love as well. So once again, I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for. I apologize for the technical difficulties that we have been dealing with.
Better late than never. Just thank you. Just keep up the good work. I look interested in helping you and your channel. I love what you're doing, and it's a positive outlet, therapeutic. I'm sure. May you and your channel grow, and may you just have better luck in your situation, and may all fathers be reunited with their kids in a positive way. Let's not give up.
it really, we have a comment from someone that I personally know. It really shouldn't cost this much pain and money for a father to have rights. It's sad. You damn right it's sad. It shouldn't cost this much pain. And thankfully, you're not going through it because we spoke on a personal note. But at the same time, my advice that I can give to you, even though you're more experienced than me when it comes to father, because everyone that's watching right now, I'm a new father, and my son is only one, which is exactly why I have pictures that are like this. That's a picture of me and my son. But make a long story short, my son is only 1 year old. Unfortunately, the relationship was not the way that I intended it to be. I'm not going to go into in deep with it due to legal matters. But what I am going to say is that my best advice to you is to have the best relationship that you can possibly have with your kid's mother, whether if it's relationship status or co-parenting. Because at the end of the day, the most important thing that matters is respect. Because if you two don't have respect for each other, then the entire situation is going to be horrible. And when you don't have respect for one another, then that's going to leave a backlash on your kids. And and that's all I have to say. And fathers are important. And is there any shout outs that you would like to give anybody?
I'm gonna give a shout out to my cousin, to y'all, everybody on here. You know, when my friends and family came to support me. Shout outs to you for hosting. Um, Shout outs to all the moms. Shout out to Cherry. Yeah, let's just make more of awareness. While fathers are important, let's get these dads and these kids united, and let's just stand strong. It's not here to bash moms. It's just do what's right. If you can make a kid, then you have the right to raise them.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I want to thank you for being on here. And most importantly, if I can't see your face because you got the mask on, and I don't want you to I don't want you to take it off because you never know. But maybe one day we'll have a barbecue together and meet up, and maybe one day our kids will meet each other when this pandemic is over.
I mean, I would love that. I think that'd be dope.
Absolutely. But God bless you, God bless your kids, and God bless your family. One love.
Kids, one love. Just keep doing what you're doing. Don't give up, Arcadio. Like, it's gonna get better. Like, it's hard now, but what you're doing, you're already like 3 steps ahead. You're able to vent. Like, I wish I had this when I was younger. Um, yeah. So just keep doing your thing. We need this. We need this. This is needed. This is therapeutic. And like I said, just don't stop. Like, I love your mission, and so does me.
Absolutely. You're young, and I want to thank you once again for being on here. And you have a good night. And thank you for. I apologize once again before I let you go. I apologize for the technical difficulty that we've been having with trying to link you on here. I think once again that has been a technical difficulty because of where you was at. But you never know.
But I'm not sure. But Fathers Lives Matter. That's actually, I think that's where I found your page at. Actually.
Yeah, that could have been. Shout out to Father's Love Matter. He actually, believe it or not, everyone, my son's mother negative energy that she's been sending to me influenced me to wanna do something like this. But when I looked at everything of what I see from Father's Life Matter, he influenced me to want to do what I'm doing now. Create a live podcast, create a page, create different posts. So for everyone to see and everyone to know why fathers are on point. This man right here, if you can please comment, this man right here is the reason why I created this page. But Steve, I don't want to hold you up on whatever you have to do. I want to thank you once again for being on here. God bless, and you have a good night. And much love to you and your kids from Long Island to Harlem.
Brother to brother, thank you. I appreciate you and love. Shouts to Father, the Lives Matter.
And I'll be in contact with you real